Hey y'all, so I've never done this before, but I decided that I wanted to try to have a story time. And this is a creepy story, and it's a true story, and I know it's true because it happened to me. So I'll start by saying that I grew up in a place that was very haunted, not just haunted house, but haunted neighborhood. Like the houses, the streets, the lanes, the garages, the graveyards, like everything was just like haunted. Okay, so uh, where I was from, my grandma lived in front of us, and then our house was right behind my grandma's house, and I was always at my grandma's house. So one night I'm over at her house, and I was about to leave out, and I opened up her garage door, which she had a really heavy garage door, and I looked out and I see this old man sitting out on my granddaddy's riding lawnmower in her garage, and he just like looks up at me. Like I've never seen this man before. I've never seen him before. I have no idea who he is, and he's just sitting there staring at me. So I got kind of spooked and I closed the door. I didn't want to go home anymore at that moment. So I go back into the living room and I sit down. I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit because it was like dark outside and I was kind of scared to go out. So it's like, I'm just gonna stay here until my aunt gets ready to leave, and then I'll walk out the door with her and then I'll just run home. So I can see my aunt get up and she goes into the kitchen, and then she looks out the window because there's a window that's facing into the garage. So she looks in the garage and she says, that old man is outside again. She's like, I've seen him before across the street in the graveyard, just like sitting on one of the headstones. And now he's out here sitting in the garage. And she's like, I don't know why he's always around. So my grandma gets up, and my aunt turns away, and my grandma gets up, and my grandma opens the door because my aunt closed the blind because he freaked her out or whatever it's right. So my grandma opens the door to the garage to see who's sitting out on the lawnmower, and she opens the door and there's like nobody out there. So I saw the guy and my aunt saw the guy, but nobody else saw the guy. Like my uncle went over to the door, he didn't see the guy either. So I'm like, okay, here we go with some crazy stuff again. But like again, where I'm from is like kind of normal. It's scary, but it is a normal thing, right? So then like some time passes and my sister, who is off at college, she comes home for a stay, and she's going to stay over at my grandma's house because my grandma has a lot more space at her house now. So I was like, I'll spend the night over at the house with you. I'll sleep over. Like, I didn't think anything else of it. I was like, I'll just stay over at you. So I stay over, and we're down the hall. My grandma has this long hallway, and we're sleeping in the first room on the left. So it's late. My sister is asleep, and I'm laying in the bed, and the door's closed, the bedroom door's closed, and I hear the front door of the house open. So I'm like, oh, my granddaddy must be coming in. Like, I thought he was already in the house, but I was like, well, he must be coming in or whatever. So like I hear him like slowly walking down like the first hallway, and then he turns left into the hallway that we're sleeping in, and I expect him to just walk straight back because their bedroom is all the way at the end of the hall, but the feet stop in front of the door, and I'm like looking down at the door, and I can see the shadow of the feet in front of the door. So I start getting nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what, who is this at the door? And I started having this really bad, heavy feeling, right? So like I'm pulling the covers, I'm starting to pull the covers up because I'm like getting nervous. And then like the door cracks open, and light from the hallway comes in, and then the old man walks in that was previously sitting out on the lawnmower. So he's like walking in, right? And he looks over at me, and I hurry up and I like pull the covers up over my head because I'm scared now. I'm like, okay, now there's something in the room with us, right? And I could tell that this was not like an alive old man. Nobody knows who this guy is, and he just did not look like he had life in him, right? He didn't look like he had life in him. So I'm laying in bed with the covers over my head, and I'm hoping that this old man would just like go away. And then I feel the bed sink in at the foot, like where my feet are. I feel the bed just like sink in. So now he's sitting on the foot of the bed, like on my side. I feel it right by my feet. He's just sitting there, right? So I'm freaking out now, right? And I start like hitting my sister. I'm like, get up, get up, get up. There's like somebody in the room. There's something in here with us. I'm scared. There's something in here with us, you know? So she's just like, okay, so my sister was in the seminary. She was going to school to be a preacher, right? So she just rolls over and she waves her hand. She's like, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out of here. And then she just like rolls over and goes back to sleep, right? And she didn't put enough feeling into it because it didn't work. It didn't work. Like the whatever was still sitting there. It did not speak. It was just sitting there, right? So now my sister is snoring and I was just feeling so alone and so afraid. So I'm like holding this blanket over my head. I'm like, I'm not moving this blanket. And then I feel whatever it was get up off the foot of the bed, and I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna go away. But it does not go away. I feel it come over me, and it's like I could feel the energy of it, and I could see the shadow of it like hovering over my body, like so close to my face. All I could do was lay there, and I was like, please go away, please go away. And I'm like holding my eyes like closed. I'm like, please go away, please go away, please go away, please, please. And it just hovered there, and I just like laid there awake, like praying that it would go away for the longest time until like I finally like drifted off to sleep. So I finally fall asleep, and then I did not move the blanket. I slept under my head under the covers like all night, which is something I hate doing because I feel so claustrophobic. But I slept with the covers over my head like all night long, and they did not come off my face until I saw the sun shining into the bedroom window. And when I saw the sun shining, I just like jumped out of bed and I grabbed my shoes and I just like bolted bolted out the house and just like ran home. I was like, I can't do that. That was the last time I stayed over at my grandma's house. But that is just like one of the stories I have of things that went on while I was staying there at, where I grew up. And I'll say this, I never knew that there was a such thing as good sleep until we moved out of that neighborhood. Like I thought every night was just like stressful, sleepless nights until we moved out. And like when I got my first real night of sleep, I was like amazed. So I might post like a couple more stories like this on here. My page is not really for that. It's just like random stuff. But if I think of something and I feel like posting it, I'll just like tell another story, or if somebody wants to hear one. But okay, thanks for listening. Bye.